Well, Ben, welcome to the Influence Model. It's great to have you and great to have another Ben on the show. I usually
Yeah,
feel
I mean, I'm always happy to meet another Ben. It's a little life hack. If your name is Ben, I will take the meeting. It's just not even a question.
Hey, that's perfect. We appreciate that you're here. So the Influence Model is a community of people in Washington here focused on how AI changes how we do things on K Street, on the Hill, in government relations, PR settings. And this is super exciting. I know this is a unique time for you guys, and would just love to get into it. I'm going to give a brief background. You're going to correct me on anything that I get wrong. Okay. And then I'll give you the floor to explain a little bit about Paige. But first, let's take it back. You're a software engineer at Shopify. And from what I understand, your focus at Shopify was really on how can we give merchants real-time information into what's happening at their storefronts? What are people clicking on? What are those metrics and how can we get them those metrics fast? Because of course, that's really valuable if you're a merchant. Then you're going to have to clarify this part of the story. You realize that, wait a minute, what I can do in that virtual world actually has relevance in the real world where we have a ton of data about what's happening in government. And you started with the Canadian government. And there's a lot of people who need that information, government relations firms, big multinational companies, and acting on that data fast is absolutely critical. And it's also a good time because AI can help us. So you started in Canada. It's very exciting because I think just this week or in the last few weeks, you announced that now you are doing tracking of the US government and you are also opening an office on K Street. So give us a
Absolutely.
sense first about like what is Page and then walk me through how did you come to this insight?
Yeah, I mean, those are pretty good intro. It's certainly more logical when you put it that way than the reality of getting into it. But what's cool is, yeah, I was at Shopify for a decade. I did an absolute ton of stuff when I was there. A lot of it was AI related towards my end of my tenure. I'm working on things like the AI chatbot and data ingestion and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But prior to Shopify, I don't have a degree in software engineering. I'm not a computer scientist by education. I'm a political. I got a degree in political science
That's awesome.
and then did a hard pivot into software engineering after graduation, where that's where I really cut my teeth at Shopify. So when I left after 10 years, I was originally planning on taking a break. Like Starfield had just come out. I was like, okay, I'm going to play Starfield. I'm going to do some renos on my house, a little DIY. But it turns out I really like working. So it didn't take me long to get back into it. And as it goes, my wife is a lobbyist and she was talking about work, and we talk about politics all the time because we're both huge politics nerds. But she was complaining about her job and the way she does things, and I was looking at what she does, and I was thinking of all the stuff I had been working on at Shopify, and I was like, well, this seems like a
Yeah.
pretty obvious marriage. Put together a little prototype, showed it to some friends who are in the industry from university. One of them started, wanted to pay me to start using it. And I was like, okay, I think we actually have something here. Brought on my
Yeah.
co-founder from Shopify. And then, yada, yada, yada. We're now live obviously, like as a Canadian, we started with the Canadian government, but from the get go, we didn't want Page to be a country specific thing. It was never meant to be a Canadian thing or even an American thing. It really is going to be the global platform for doing GR, and it's all going to be AI native. So it's been a wonderful journey. But what we effectively put together is this AI that can watch, listen, read to everything governments across, at this point, across the continent are doing live as it happens. But most importantly, think about it from the interest and concerns that you and your clients or your firm have with government, so that above all, you never miss a thing. You look, and it's like you have superpowers, like you just know everything that's going on, whether it's in DC or Ottawa or Sacramento or Albany or all these different places. But of course, like knowing what's going on is only half the battle. So one of the things that we've been putting a lot of emphasis on lately, and I'm really excited to start showing off more, is all the incredibly rich AI native features that we're building on top of that live data to help you analyze what's happening and help you with your engagement with government and achieve the outcomes that you're looking for. It's Page is unlike anything I think people have seen before, whether it's in Ottawa or on K Street. And it's going, I mean, it already is setting the standard for what it means to be a GR tech. And I'm really excited to get more of our friends in the States on board. If, like, like you mentioned, the K Street office, we're hiring in DC.
Amazing.
And it's going to be a big focus before, we go on to helping our friends in Canberra and in London and Brussels and all the other fun places.
So let's just take it back. Congress has had an API for a long time. There's been a lot of government tracking software over the years. I've had the unfortunate privilege of using some of these softwares. And one of the things that I see is I don't really want to be a programmer programming exactly what feeds I want and trying to have these keyword matrices and all this complex stuff, because in the end, it really seems to underdeliver. I mean, if I were to imagine the government tracking software that I want it to understand what I care about. And so walk me through, is that something that Page can do? Does it start to get a sense for like what I consider signal versus noise? Because let me tell you, the level of noise, the threshold is just keeps going up.
It's incredible. And what I keep saying is, like, government's like a fractal. Every time you look more closely at government, there's just more of it. And then you start getting into the state level and sub-state level. And it's just, there's so much going on that the signal to noise ratio is completely skewed. So to your point, like when I was tinkering with the idea of Page, when my wife was complaining, the first thing I did was go look at what's out there. Like, how are people solving this problem? And what struck me is that clearly, especially in the United States, people have had this thought before. Like, computers should certainly be able to help folks in GR and PA and PR do their jobs more effectively. And so they've gone out and built things, and I respect that. But unfortunately, they weren't software builders, right? These were often folks coming from within the industry to try their best at building what they think software is. And frankly, one thing I can assure you of over my time at Shopify is that building truly great software is an incredibly difficult and ultimately expensive thing to do. So one of the amazing things that we're bringing to GR tech space and this industry is that myself and my entire team all work together at Shopify. Like, we have an utterly top tier engineering team bringing world-class software to this industry, frankly, for the first time ever. Like you said, when you use Page, you shouldn't have to be a programmer. The AI can help you do all the things that you need to do. It's really intuitive. It's really easy to use. You don't have to spend hours configuring it, because, like, at the end of the day, if you're going to sit down and spend an hour configuring a piece of software, you might as well have just read that report.
Yes.
You might as well have just watched the committee anyways. If you can't trust the AI, if you can't trust the software, or you have to put the time in to do the software to do all these things, at some point it's just like, I might as well do it myself. So that's one of the beautiful parts of Page, is that it is a truly remarkable piece of tech that we've put together. But you can trust that it is seeing everything and that it truly does understand your interests, so that when it does flag something, it is actually important. It's all that noise you can forget about and trust that the AI is doing its job correctly.
Ben, your insight about trust is so important. As you know, Washington runs on trust. We trust people, relationships are broken. And essentially what you're saying is you should trust AI to do the monitoring that you might rely on a human to do. Now, in many cases, the human doing that monitoring is maybe an intern or maybe a very early career person.
Yes.
So maybe your answer is it's not actually that hard to overcome the kind of quality threshold that you need to have. But I like your insight about trust. You see a lot of worry about AI in Washington because no one wants to miss something, right? No one wants to have something slip through the filter. And at the same time, no one also wants to put out something with a mistake in it. And we have a lot of examples,
100%.
particularly, in this administration, of documents where missing citations, in their
Invented citations. Yeah.
Invented citations. That's what it is. Yes. Totally hallucinating.
It's a definite problem. What's one of the great things about Page is we learned that from the get-go, we need to ensure that our users understand how the AI is arriving at all of its conclusions. So nothing in Page is ever not cited back to the primary source. Our data ingestion pipeline is very intentionally set up so that anytime our AI says, hey, X happened, or Y happened, or ABC happened, or person X said thing Z or whatever, or Z. It all tied back to that primary source. So you can always go into Page, you can always click on the links, and it'll show you hyper specifically where that piece of knowledge came from. So, and I think that is generally how we can solve the trust problem with AI is that, it's cool that you mentioned the interns because it's a very similar thing to having an intern. It's a very similar trust building process as
Yes.
having an intern is that you need to trust them, but you should verify, right? And so everything in Page, you should trust Page because it is going to do a great job, but you can also verify everything that it does. And you will quickly see that it is nailing it.
When I talk about how AI will change Washington, I write a lot about this in the influence model and on LinkedIn, and I've been writing about this for years. The interesting thing is to take the current state of affairs and try to talk about the future as an evolution of things that we understand today. Because in a lot of ways, the talk about AGI or the talk about AI job replacement, really, it's not helpful to people. I think talking about how a very specific process will change. Let's take a process, for example, a hearing's happening at 2:00. An intern will sit down, they'll log on to whatever website, and they'll listen, they'll take notes, and then they'll spend hours writing that write up, and then they'll send it to someone internally or some stakeholder for review. How do processes like that evolve with Page?
Yes. that doesn't none of what you described needs to happen
Yeah,
anymore, which is kind of wild.
amazing. I think people don't realize that. I mean, people
Yeah,
don't realize that. It's amazing.
it is amazing. With Page, when everything is happening live and in real time, and our AI is already watching it. If it's happening, if it's in DC or any of the states or one of the provinces in Canada or the federal government, our AI is watching it. So how it works on our platform is that you sign up for Page, you teach our AI the interests and concerns that you have. We don't care about keywords, we care about ideas. So once you teach the AI those ideas, you're off to the races, you're set, and it's going to watch that meeting that you're describing. And we aim for about 3 minutes after the end of the meeting. There's a full summary report with the full transcript that's tied back to the individual politicians that were speaking. We have voice profiles of every single politician across the continent at this point. It's kind of crazy, but it's all tied back to them. And on top of that, then all that content goes through the relevancy pipeline, and the relevancy pipeline thinks about very carefully about the interests and concerns that you have and what's important, what's not. So first, you have that general summary. And then on top of that, you have what we call takeaways. And these takeaways are things that come straight to your email that summarize what happened from your perspective, why it's important to you, what you might need to be concerned about, what you need to do next. And then you can go see the list. So you get that entire workflow that you described done automatically and within minutes. And then that intern can go do literally anything else that's more high value. And this is something that's like come up a lot. People ask me about this a lot is the impact AI is going to have on jobs and careers, and do we even need interns anymore? And what I always say, and is like early career for me, and I'm sure it was the same for you. I've yet to meet someone that this wasn't true for. Is think back to the first big kid job that you had out of university or college or whatnot. Almost certainly the things you were working on were awful. You were bored. It was toil. It was a lot of crappy work that someone had to do. And you were sitting there thinking like, I just wrote a thesis on the dynamics of the Cold War that was 20 pages long and super well researched. And I created this amazing argument and yada, yada, yada. And now I'm watching the Ways and Means Committee and taking notes on what happened in here. Come on, I could do way better to this stuff than this. And it's true. And they could. And that's what's going to happen is AI isn't going to really replace people. It's going to create more work. Frankly, that's the truth of every single revolution that we've seen. Like the invention of the plow and the combine didn't change the fact that we have more food now. We have more, in absolute terms, farmers than we've ever had with these things. And what we're seeing right now is and I genuinely believe this, at the dawn of a new form of industrial revolution. Like this is going to change the way everybody works in the white collar industry. So we're having a tough time as a society, I think, understanding how to frame this and what the impact is going to be, because this truly is one of the first times that the white collar industry as a whole has been so heavily disrupted by a technical revolution. But you like it's going to be similar to the ones that we saw with the industrial revolution or the agricultural revolution, where people are still going to be needed. What they're going to be doing, though, is going to be a lot higher value. It's going to be not the toil. It's going to be the stuff that, I guess, to more related to our industry. It's going to be, you're going to be able to spend more times with your clients. You're going to be able to spend more time doing deep research like you were doing back in college. You're going to have more time engaging with people on the Hill. That's one thing, AI is never going to be able to do, is go talk to people, go get out there and engage and build relationships. You're going to have way more time for that, and let the AI handle all the toil so that humans don't have to anymore.
It's amazing the things that are toil right now that we might not even recognize as toil until AI can do it for us. And in
It's
every generation, they had things that they just kind of went along with. Before the laundry machine, laundry was a whole day thing. And then immediately the fact that the laundry could be done by a machine changed everything from women's rights to how they allocated their time and allowed women to enter the workforce. There are all
yeah,
these follow-on effects. So let me ask you like an interesting follow-on effect. Let's say if you have 1,000 eyes everywhere, you have the ability to understand what's happening in real time. Let's say that's democratized to everybody because Page now proliferates and you have everyone who is on this platform who can monitor in real time, understand, and not only see what's happening, but make sense of it. What does that mean about the future of competition? And where does the kind of competitive layer? Because it's not about being as fast to understand. It's about,
yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think it really changes in the long run. I don't think it really changes what makes people in GR stand out different in the future as it does now. Like, I mean, it's certainly in the short run, if you're not using these tools, you're going to get out competed very quickly. And it's not something that's going to happen in, years from now. It's happening now. I don't care what AI you use. If you're not using it, just please use something.
yeah,
Ideally mine, but at least something for your own sake. But granted, I imagine most people listening to this are already attuned to AI. But the outcome, the end game of all this is that it's, like I said, like the single most invaluable part of GR is your ability to build relationships and anticipate what comes next, and all these
mm,
truly intrinsic things that come with it, just being an expert on government and politics. That's not going to change. The people that are able to connect the dots and understand are still going to be the people that are excelling at it. And the tools that we're building are just going to make it easier for you to do those things. Like, we're going to wildly increase your productivity, wildly increase the number of connections and data points that you're able to consume and input into those really great insights that you provide for your boss or your client or whoever it may be. AI is going to give people superpowers, and the people that are the most able to leverage them are the people that are going to be winning, which is not too different than it is today.
yeah, I think that's so true. I also will say, as someone who's been, really tracking the AI market for, 3 years, the consumer AI market, not all tools are made the same. And it's really up to builders like yourself to build for real workflows, build excellent software, not just medium software that kind of does the job.
My God,
That's what we're
preaching
struggling.
to the choir. Yeah,
I
it's
know I'm
it's
preaching to the choir, but
yeah.
I'm preaching to everyone else because not all software is made the same. And just because you have a ChatGPT license doesn't mean that it's going to be able to tell you what happened at X hearing or help you understand the kind of topology of an issue as Page does.
Yeah.
So
Or be accurate and trustworthy, like we were talking
exactly.
about.
So you are opening an office on K Street. That's very exciting. Like, tell us, what's your Washington vision? What are you seeking to do here? Who are you seeking to partner with?
I mean, one of the cool things about starting in Canada is that we were able to get a lot of really great experience in a relatively small market before bringing our product to a massive market like the United States. We always wanted to come. Like, the plan from day one was to launch in the States, and being that we're up here, up north of the border, it just made sense to start here, develop the product, and learn a bunch of lessons. What we're excited about in the United States is to bring what we've already seen and delivered for our customers in Canada to the folks in the States. And the results have been incredible. Our customers are utterly thrilled with what we're doing. Multi clients, like they're able to service so much more work. They're winning work because of Page. They're using Page to help with their business development. We have, off the top of my head, at least 4 government relations startups building their entire companies around Page. It's
Interesting.
such
Yeah.
a step change in capability, because what they're seeing is, like, as an individual or a small team, we can now bring to bear the same sort of resources the large incumbents can, and they're embracing it fully. It's truly great to see. I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
obviously, and it's great to see people do it. And then even on the corporate side and the enterprise side, the productivity gains, like budgets are tight, always have been, always will be. It's similar to what I was just saying, like the productivity gains of Page just means it instantly feels like you've doubled or tripled or even quadrupled the size of your team. It's incredible what you can do, especially because we're expanding to all 50 states. There's just so much you're able to track and monitor, and it makes you look incredible to your bosses. But even some other ones that we didn't expect right off the bat, law firms are a fascinating use case. We've
Yeah.
seen that already. Some major cross-border law firms are embracing Page to deliver a brand new business line that they've never had before. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Like, if you're a law firm, it's not a crazy leap to begin offering government relations, or at least government advice, or government monitoring to your legal clients. Like, just it's a perfect fit. That's what we're excited about. Like, there's so much that our Canadian customers are gaining from Page, and now we've adapted the product to fit the American market, and we're really excited to see the response. And already, I mean, it's only been a few weeks that we've been active in the States, and already we've seen some pretty remarkable responses from people that are using some of the competitors down in the States. It's
Yeah.
Page is pretty unique compared to the others. It's certainly higher quality and easier to use, but even just the capabilities that it has is just unlike anything people have seen before.
I am a product person at heart, even though I don't really have much of that experience. And I can imagine that there's such an opportunity to design for delight and joy here. Again, as someone who is inside the Beltway and sees these pieces of software, they're usually kind of clerical, miserable, hard to use.
Yeah.
So you really do a good job of laying out the incentive structures of, I understand that this person wants to make their client or their boss look good. Here's how we can make them feel like that. We're going to deliver, but also build an app that's easy to use, that is rewarding to use, that makes
Yeah.
you feel like you're ahead of the times, not behind, and like there's not a huge barrier to entry.
Not at all. Like, if you can use Outlook or Word, like, Page is trivial compared to, I mean, Word's a bad comparison. I think Word's a terribly difficult app to
Yeah.
use. So maybe I shouldn't compare it
We're
to
gonna cut
Word
that.
or Outlook. Yeah, it's incredibly easy to use. Like, you just open it up in your browser and it's there, and it's intuitive. It's straightforward. You don't have to hire a bunch of people to figure out how to use it. We're certainly not going to offer professional services, because that's just unhinged. Like, it's just easy to use, and we've designed it in a way that everybody at every stage of their career want to use Page. Whether you've been doing this for 20 years or you're a junior, like, everybody wants in, because there's just so many different things you can do with this. It's so easy to use. You don't need to, pawn this off on a junior or an intern or whatever to set to, go get that person to set it up and configure it, and do the 52 steps it takes to do literally anything. Build an altar to whatever god you worship and figure out how this works. Like, it's easy. And what's cool is, like, looking back, like, my co-founder Elliot and I were just so well positioned to bring this kind of software to this industry, because this is what we did at Shopify. Before Shopify existed, selling on the internet was incredibly difficult. Accepting a credit card from someone over the internet was an incredibly dangerous and hard thing to do. And what Shopify did was take that really difficult model and simplify it so that anybody could sell things on the internet. And we're doing the exact same thing. We're taking this archaic software industry that's been serving GR tech, because people in tech don't really think about government unless you're a politics nerd like me. We're taking this really difficult, archaic industry, and we're bringing it up to date with this wonderfully beautiful, simple software that does exactly what you need it to do. at a price that is incredibly attractive, especially compared to the incumbents in the States. So it's exciting, and I'm happy to be doing this.
That's awesome. If you were to look kind of forward the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, is there more to accomplish here? Is there a grander vision?
Oh, oh my God. Yeah.
I'm turning you up easy one here. Tell me.
Yeah. I mean, the vision is straightforward. We want Page to be the greatest platform for doing GR that is or ever was. It's just every facet of the job should be really easy and wonderful and AI native and incredibly effective to do on the platform. And every day we're a startup, right? So our planning is on a number of weeks. And we're also, like I said, we have an excellent engineering team. So we move incredibly quick. So every day is just like there's so many ideas that we have of things we can deliver to our customers that we're already in progress, and we're viciously prioritizing them. But I'm really excited to show some of the analytical features that we have coming down the pipe that are all I don't want to tip the hand too much before we launch it all, but it's going to be mind blowing and incredibly useful for influencing and engaging with government. And of course, we have Walk that we're launching right now. It's on, like, there's some hints about it on the website already, but it's going to be this really incredible co-pilot for doing GR. That's in addition to the already powerful platform that we have. And unlike anything else in the industry, this is built from first principles. We're not trying to bolt on Chat GPT onto an existing product and being like, check, we do AI. Look, everybody, AI.
Works.
No, we built this from the ground up, knowing that this is going to be an AI first product, so that you get the experience that people need and deserve in this industry out of their AI products.
Well, Ben, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing your journey and about Page. And I'm excited to try it. I know it really sounds revolutionary. And thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it. Anytime, Ben.